Cameron Indoor Stadium, and you can hear how lively the Crazies are right now. Hi, everybody. Dan Shulman and Jay Billis. So glad you are with us. Duke looking to get some revenge on Carolina, as we mentioned. And Jay, as always, they're led by the presumptive National Player of the Year in Cameron Boozer.
Well, Cameron Boozer has had as good a season as any player, let alone freshman, in the country. He's averaging 22 points a game, 10 rebounds per game. That leads the ACC. He also leads Duke in assists, shoots almost 60% from the field and 40% from three. And Dan, it's been the high-level consistency that he's displayed throughout this season for the #1 team in the country that's been absolutely amazing. And the last time any player had 22 points, 10 rebounds, and shot 40% from the field in a season was Kevin Durant at Texas in 2007.
That's a look at our Wood and Watch, presented by Principal for the latest on Carolina. Here's Chris Butter.
Caleb Wilson is out for this game after missing the last 6 with a broken left hand. He was doing everything he could to play in this game, but in practice 2 days ago, he went up in a non-contact drill, broke his thumb on the rim while dunking. Friday morning, woke up, had an x-ray, and it was determined that he will have surgery. That would be the end of his season for North Carolina. Hubert Davis told me that the first thing he said to him when he woke up out of surgery was, "Is there any way I could at least be at the game?" So he did what he could. He is here today. Hubert told me he might not be able to help us on the floor, but he's going to give it everything he got on the bench.
Chris, thank you. Just terrible news for Carolina. And again, all of that happening in the last 48 hours. So Caleb Wilson, unless he comes back next year, and I don't think anybody expects him to, will not have the opportunity to play in this building. Carolina has played well in his absence. They have won 5 of their last 6. As Caleb Foster misses the 3, Malik Brown getting the start tonight for Duke, not Patrick Youngba II. Cameron Boozer, the offensive rebound, and up and in with the first points of the night.
Well, already on the first possession, North Carolina gives up 2 offensive rebounds to Duke. North Carolina has to rebound in this game for an opportunity to win here in Cameron Indoor Stadium.
This is not your typically strong Carolina rebounding team, and obviously they're at even more of a disadvantage in that department without Wilson. Seth Trimble, who hit that game winner that shook the Dean Dome to its core a month ago. Luka Bogovac wide open and knocks down a 3.
Bogovac coming off a 20-point game against Clemson where he hit 6 of 10 from 3, and North Carolina moving the ball with purpose on their first possession.
Carolina's won 3 of its last 5 in this building, and often they have been the underdog and have come in here and won. Here's Boozer driving baseline on Stevenson. Brown the kick. Sarr the corner 3. And Stevenson holds off Boozer for the rebound.
Well, that was a heck of a catch on that short roll by Malik Brown.
Boy, they need big minutes from Stevenson and Vessar tonight. Vessar had a great second half in the game in Chapel Hill after being a non-factor in the first half. Nice look inside. Stevenson. And it rolls off the rim. Foster in transition. Scoop no good, but Sarr the rebound. Malik Brown will hoist it in and out, and it's Carolina ball.
In the first game these 2 teams played, North Carolina got out-rebounded by 12. Obviously wound up winning the game on that brilliant Seth Trimble 3-pointer with 0.4 seconds left, but Carolina needs to get on the glass. Duke is getting offensive rebound opportunities.
Beat Virginia, even though they were out-rebounded by 16. Hubert Davis has told them this is not the way to win games. Good defensive transition there by Stevenson to knock it away. There's also, it appears, health news on the Duke side. Patrick Youngba II not in the starting lineup, and you may be thinking, and understandably so, well, Malik Brown is starting because it's senior night. But Chris, that's not so, is it?
No, Youngba's been dealing with a right foot injury. He was on the availability report as a game time decision. I've been told they won't rule him out necessarily. He was in early pregame warmups, but not in the layup line. So, not playing right now.
Brown will lay it in, and clearly was fouled on the play as well.
He was grabbed on the top of the head. And you wonder if the officials will take a look at this and see if that is considered a flagrant one. They might upgrade it. But Carolina's coming with the double when Cameron Boozer catches it. You don't see plays like that very often.
Yeah, that's not one we talk about very much. As Brown misses the free throw. So again, if they don't have Gungba, that thins Duke out in the front court a little bit. Three minutes in, Duke by one. Derek Dixon, who moved into the starting lineup mid-season. The freshman had some really good moments late in the game in the win over Duke last month. Trimble the spin and the fadeaway and knocks it home.
Boy, so good in the paint. Seth Trimble is so compact and explosive.
Boy, Hubert Davis spoke so fondly of Trimble to us before the game. Guys who stay at one school for 4 years, you don't see that very often anymore. Trimble is one of those guys as Brown puts Duke back on top.
What a beautiful play by Caleb Foster, taking on the big guy in drop coverage, Henry Vessar.
Dixon into the paint, forced to kick it back out. Hubert Davis hollering instructions to his team, but there's no way they can hear him in this place right now. The three strong for Stevenson. Blue Devils in transition. The double on Boozer. The kick. The extra pass. Evans for three.
Cameron Boozer is an excellent passer. He leads this Duke team in assists, and when that double comes, great play by Vessar.
Big guys who can pass on both teams here tonight.
Well, Vessar made the catch on the roll and then immediately dumped it down. That was beautifully done. But Boozer, you bring that double out, and you better bring it quick.
There it is again. He finds the open man again, and Brown is off to a big start.
That's just too easy. You're putting Brown having to be guarded by Seth Trimble in the middle of the floor. That's just too tough.
Brown's got 6 already, having to deal with Vessar at this end, and Vessar just too big as he scores over Brown.
Big and skilled. And Henry Vessar shoots 40% from 3.
And now we may have Derek Dixon may have some blood on his jersey as Roger Ayers blows the whistle, and we'll have a stoppage almost 5 minutes into this game. Up and down they have been going here in Durham. Seth Trimble, the hero of the first game, with a nice fadeaway from the paint, and Isaiah Evans wide open, and he buries it for Duke. A lot of folks in Carolina blue have settled in, Jay, hoping their team can pull off the upset here tonight. Hubert Davis has been in a lot of these games as a player, as a coach. Remember, in his first year, Carolina came in here in Coach K's last home game as the coach here at Duke, and Carolina beat him, and then they beat him again in the Final Four. What does Carolina, Jay, have to do really well tonight to have a chance to win?
I think they have to be physical. They've got to defend the paint, and they have to rebound at a really high level. If they don't rebound, they can't get into their transition game.
Look at the footwork from Cameron Boozer.
They decided to go one-on-one in the post with Zayden High, and Cameron Boozer just too good to guard one-on-one. But you bring it double, he's able to pass out of it, and they get an open 3 on the backside. Tough decisions.
Zayden High, the sophomore from San Antonio, did not play a single second in the first game in Chapel Hill, but with the injuries to Caleb Wilson, he has become a major factor for this Carolina team as Trimble lays it in with the left.
Just a beautiful job by Seth Trimble to play off of the penetration by Bogobats. He relocated, caught it on the run, and was able to get an easy layup on the other side of the bucket.
The Blue Devils have hit their last 5 from the field, make it 6. Foster.
Caleb Foster is playing off 2 feet. His decision-making has been excellent. The last 5 games, he's got 23 assists, 2 turnovers.
Boy, Trimble is off to a hot start tonight as well.
What a terrific job by Zayden High to screen off Cameron Boozer so he couldn't get there to challenge that at the rim.
Both teams playing well offensively. Duke is the #1 team in the nation in adjusted defensive efficiency per KenPom. Up top, what a feed from Boozer. Boozer to Brown.
Boozer's ability to process situations is next level. He saw Vesar came over, just lobbed it up to Brown. Beautiful play by the freshman.
Brown's already got 8, and Boozer's already got 3 assists. Bogavant's coming off a big game against Clemson Tuesday. Hit 6 threes. Somehow found high, but Sarr got him from behind. Now Sarr sees a seam and can't finish it. Trimble in transition. He is so good when he gets going. Thought he was fouled. No call. And here's Sarr at the other end. Might have gotten away with a walk.
He did not.
He didn't get away with it. They saw it. It sure looked like 3 steps. John Shire doesn't like it in live time, as you can imagine, but it did look like a walk.
A terrific pass ahead. And remember, Sarr was the one that blocked that shot. And still the first down to the other end. But you're right, that's 3 steps. That's a walk. It was the right call.
7 minutes in, Duke by 4.
Donnie Sarr starting Kyan Evans right now. He needs to put great pressure on the ball.
John Shire's been putting Sarr more and more often on the other team's point guard or primary ball handler
Every time.
Yeah. And Duke's defensive numbers, as good as they are overall on the season, they're off the charts over the last month or so. Jonathan Powell defended and has it taken away by Evans. Transition 3. Caden Boozer the rebound. Left it short, high for the heels.
Another offensive rebound opportunity for Duke.
Evans into the paint. A lot of traffic and a whistle. John Shire in his 4th year as the head coach here at Duke. He's won 117 games. One more, he will break the record he currently holds with Brad Stevens, who won 117 in his first 4 years at Butler. And in his first 3 years, he's gone 2nd round, Elite 8, Final 4, hoping to get even further as his head coach, Mike Krzyzewski, looks on here at Cameron.
Yeah, 1,000 more wins and John Shire catches him.
He's right on his heels. Trimble aggressive. Won't go down.
Well, you better be strong with the ball. This is going to be a physical game.
Nicholas Hamenya into the chest of High. Knocked out of bounds, and it will be Duke ball when we come back. You talked about Cameron Boozer's passing. We've seen a lot of evidence already tonight.
Well, when he catches the ball off this short roll, he sees Vesar comes over, and he lobs it right up to Malik Brown. That's next level processing. Cameron Boozer has already had a big impact on this game in the early going. The offensive rebound and stick back. And the great footwork when he gets one-on-one in the post. Getting to the bucket with his left hand, then setting the ball screen, the short roll, and processing it for the lob up to Malik Brown. Every aspect of this game he touches. Top 10 in the league in steals, leads the ACC in rebounding, 2nd in scoring at 22 points per game. And talk about efficient. There hasn't been a player in the Ken Pom era that's been any more efficient in playing this game than Cam Boozer has been this year in his first 30 games.
Yeah, is he an absolute lock to win the Wooden Award?
I think he is. What a great block. Yeah, I think that's settled.
Duke by 4, just over 8 minutes in. Jaron Stevenson, Chapel Hill native, played a couple of years at Alabama. High, and a great play anticipating the lob by Brown.
What a special defender Malik Brown is. Great pass.
Harris to Caden Boozer for the 3, and Stevenson another rebound. He is going to have to be big on the glass. Wide open is Powell, but he can't get it to go.
If Carolina can get on the defensive glass, they can get out in transition. And you have to have transition to score in this game. You're not going to be able to grind it out the whole game in half court.
Zayden High called for a foul, kind of backing into Brown to prevent the alley-oop.
Those middle ball screens are really effective because it's difficult to help. You know, Zayden High is taking ball responsibilities, but you can't stay that long. And you got to get back to your man, or somebody's got a tag from the weak side.
So Malik Brown at the line again, starting tonight. Patrick Gungba II has yet to play in the game. Was listed as questionable with a foot injury, as Chris told you earlier. Went through early warm-ups, then kind of sat down, took off the tape. Was not in the layup line right before the game. As Chris said, has not been ruled out, but he hasn't been in there yet either.
Makes rotations a little bit more difficult, but Malik Brown defensively, you're not going to find a better big man defender. He leads this team in deflections, playing only 20 minutes a game, and he's second in the nation in steals rate.
Let's go down to Chris.
John Shire in that last time out challenging his team defensively. That was the part of the ball that he wasn't happy with in their last meetings, and got to keep them out of the paint. On the other end, he said, don't panic. Make simple, easy passes offensively.
A battle, an absolute battle for a loose ball, and the call is Carolina ball.
I thought it went off Carolina.
I did too, but we don't see Duke asking for a challenge yet.
They changed it.
They changed the call. Okay.
Another official came in and overruled it, or consulted, let's say.
Not as clear cut on the replay, I don't think, as it appeared live, but it is Duke ball. Caden Boozer out there in the backcourt. Harris, Amenya, Brown, and Cameron Boozer, the five of the game right now for the Blue Devils. Here comes Harris, who has been very productive in recent games, and smartly draws the foul to get to the line.
Duke is able to move the ball from side to side. They had a little zoom action on the last part, and you're able to turn the corner and get into the lane. That puts a lot of pressure on the defense.
Harris had 16 points in 17 minutes off the bench with a big win over Notre Dame a couple of weeks ago. We've got more college basketball action coming your way after this game tonight, including Auburn at Alabama. Auburn could really use a big quad one win, and they've got an opportunity to do it against Alabama at 8:30 Eastern tonight. And then the night is capped off with Texas Tech against BYU. The Cougars are really struggling. They have lost 8 of 11. And when you think about Caleb Wilson injury out for the season, you think of Texas Tech and BYU as well. JT Toppin, ACL, out for the season. Richie Saunders, BYU, ACL, out for the season. So many, unfortunately, top players, Jay, have suffered season and in some cases maybe college career-ending injuries.
Yeah, just heartbreaking for all three. I can't recall a year where 3 players of that caliber were injured in the ways that these players were injured. But Dan, that last play, one thing that no team can do, you can't play with the ball when Malik Brown's around. He's gonna knock it away from him. He's got the best hands in college basketball.
And you've been in as many shoot-around more in practices than I have. Every opposing coach tells their players that don't play around with it when Brown's around. And don't leave Cameron Boozer open from beyond the arc. With everything else that he's doing, he's a 40% three-point shooter. And very quickly, it seems, Duke has stretched this out to an 11-point lead.
And one of the big reasons they've been able to do that has been the defensive play of Malik Brown. He has been disrupting everything for North Carolina.
It's a 9-0 run. Bessar.
What a catch.
Trimble somehow kept it from sailing into the crazies. Bogovats thinking of getting into best he can. Now trying to draw on Caden Boozer. Step back. Didn't draw iron, and it's Duke ball.
Duke did a terrific job switching the screening action, and Luka Bogovats had no choice. The shot clock was winding down, and he had to take that shot over Caden Boozer, who had switched out on him, and Boozer switched up. He just didn't switch to take him. He switched up to take something away.
Duke has lost only twice this season, by 1 to Texas Tech, by 3 to Seth Trimble in Carolina. Number 1 in the nation. Carolina's won 5 out of 6, but they've got their hands full here tonight. Harris, no. And Bogovats comes down with it for the Tar Heels. slings a pass inside for Stevenson. Out of bounds, still Carolina ball.
Malik Brown was trailing that play and still was able to knock it away and disrupt that pass, which could have been a layup to Jaron Stevenson. It's a great defensive play by Brown.
Carolina made 6 of its first 8. They are now 0 for their last 6. If Brown was a 30 to 32 minute a game guy, he'd be in the conversation for National Player of the Year. He's more of a 20 minute per game guy, but boy, is he, pound for pound on a per minute basis, one of the very best defenders in the nation. Vessar, Stevenson, and a much needed bucket for Carolina.
Well, terrific job. Stevenson was setting a screen and then slipped off that screen to the basket. Beautifully done.
That gets it back down to 9 and quiets the crowd, at least for the moment. And it'll be Bogavant's called for the foul.
Just ran Nicholas Hamenya over. Now take a look at Stevenson here. He sets a little screen and then just slips right past Dame Sarr. Beautifully done. No pressure on the ball so that Henry Vessar could see right over Hamenya.
Vessar with 3 assists in the game. He and Boozer leading their respective teams in assists so far, but Vessar's only got 2 points, 1 rebound with no Caleb Wilson. They need a big night from their 7-footer. Stevenson switches on to Foster. Foster driving. Blocked by Vessar.
Caleb Foster went right into the chest of Vessar, but Vessar stayed straight up and down and blocked that shot late. That was just beautiful defense, but a strong drive by Foster.
Just 2.4 on the shot clock. The lob. Brown the kick. Hamenya with an air ball, and it's Carolina ball.
Malik Brown, when he caught that ball, he should have gone up with it. There was no reason to pass that out. He had an opportunity to score, get fouled, or both. Box set for North Carolina, trying to isolate Vessar in the post.
Jaden Young, the junior, transfer from Virginia Tech, number 4, into the game for the Tar Heels. Vessar swings it to Young, who misses a 3, and Vessar held by Brown, who was called for the foul. That takes us to immediate timeout. 7:51 to go here in the first half at Cameron Indoor Stadium. The rematch, round 2, after that scintillating win for the Tar Heels a month ago. Early going here tonight, and the Blue Devils are up by 9.
There's flying.
Numbers about this rivalry are unbelievable. It's the 89th ranked meeting between these two. Jay, no other pair of schools have met in a ranked matchup more than 41 times. That's Carolina and NC State. And sometimes it doesn't seem to matter who's at the top of the heap and who may not be having their best season. You just never know what's going to happen in this game.
Right now, Duke is making some hay with that middle third ball screen. And after Cameron Boozer set that ball screen and popped out to the left, there was a switch and he had the lane line to drive down. And when he gets downhill, no guard is going to stop him.
He gets to the free throw line often, 37 times his last 3 games. Tomorrow morning on ESPN, the Women's College Game Day crew will be in Greenville, South Carolina at noon Eastern to get you set for a big day of women's college basketball championships. The Ally ACC championship matchup begins at 1 Eastern, followed by the SEC, and then it finishes up with the Phillips 66 Big 12 title on the line. Duke by 10. Bogavant got caught in the air and turned it over.
Well, you got to play off 2 feet against Duke. You leave the floor and decide you're going to make a decision in the air, you're going to have a problem.
Boozer swings it to Sarr. Shot fake and a baseline jam.
Duke's spacing is outstanding. They are spreading out this North Carolina defense and taking advantage of it.
Trimble tries to turn the corner. Dixon is wide open and a much-needed three for the visitors.
So Derek Dixon hit some big threes late in that game against Duke in Chapel Hill. He wound up with 8 points, 4 assists, and the biggest assist, the one to Seth Trimble to end the game.
Became the starter midseason, has now started the last 14 in a row. Boozer spins into a double team. Foster's open. And the rebound down to Stevenson.
Boy, what a block out by Trimble on Cameron Boozer.
Vessar gets around Hemenya and lays it in.
Boy, what a beautiful pass. Talk about a tight window that led Vessar right into his move for that layup. That was beautiful by Derek Dixon.
And Carolina's got it down to 7. Here comes Evans. Puts it on the deck. And kind of fading a bit to his right as he put it out. Boozer the offensive rebound. Sarr with a foot on the line leaves it short. Vessar for the heel.
Wait, how did Boozer get that offensive rebound? He must have crazy glue on his hands.
Felt like he had 4 players around him as well, as now Sarr fouls Dixon.
Duke's spacing is excellent. Look how wide everybody is. The court's 50 feet wide. It is wider in the half court than it is long, and Duke used every inch of it. Great shot fake, and Dame Sarr's eyes were on the rim as Henry Vessar was closing out. That little shot fake got him to bite as he's closing out, and there was nobody there to stop him on that drive. Beautifully done.
Duke's got 8 more field goal attempts than Carolina. One reason is turnovers as they force another one.
And guess who with Malik Brown?
Foster drains a 3. Boy, between the offensive rebounds and the turnovers, Carolina's going to have to clean both of those things up to have a chance of winning.
But one of the things that you have to be mindful of is taking the ball into Malik Brown. His hands are just so good. He knocks it away constantly. He's got 30% of Duke's deflections. This after the steal and the knock away by Brown. And just taking the ball and penetrating it a bit causes the defense to collapse in, kicking it to Caleb Foster. And Caleb Foster has been outstanding over the last month or so. He's had a terrific year, but he's elevated his game over the last month.
Isaiah Evans has been playing great as well, but he just picked up his second. He's gone to the bench. Darren Harris returns. Vessar to Trimble. Floater is blocked by Brown. He's everywhere defensively. Dixon for 3. And the heels on the glass. Stevenson lays it in.
Well, nobody blocked out, and nobody really went to the glass. Some guys leaking out. Cameron Boozer couldn't get a body on Jaren Stevenson.
Stevenson having a nice night as Caleb Foster is slow to get up. And he's going to make his way to the bench.
Well, Duke goes 8 deep. And in this game, it's only 7 because Patrick Gungba is not available because of that right foot injury. He was questionable on the injury list coming into the game with a game-time decision. And the game-time decision was he's not going to go. And, man, was he was crying before the game. He was so emotional.
It's a special game for fans to watch. It's obviously a special game for the players to compete in. And you think about Gungba not playing so far tonight. You feel for Caleb Wilson. Broke his thumb dunking in a 2-on-0 drill. Wasn't even a 5-on-5. They were doing everything they could the last couple of days to try to get him back from the broken left hand for this game tonight. And he broke his right thumb Thursday. Had surgery yesterday morning. Done for the season. 4.5 to go first half. Carolina trying to stay within range. Caden Boozer with a shot clock at 4. Bowling his way in and finishes.
Well, that was a strong drive. Dixon was trying to angle him out, but Caden Boozer wouldn't have any of it. Carolina's running its half-court offense with pretty good pace.
Trimble to Vessar. He can shoot the 3. Fires a pass into Stevenson. Jump hook, and he'll shoot 2. And Caleb Foster. Looks like it has something to do with the right foot, right ankle, in some pain on the Duke bench in this 10-point game. Happened to Caleb Foster moments ago. Seth Trimble with a drive, and it looked like the right knee of Foster may have collided with the right leg of Trimble, but really tough for us to know, Jay, at least now. Is it the knee? Is it the ankle? Is it the foot? It appears to be something on the right leg, but Foster has gone back to the locker room.
And not sure exactly when it happened, but we certainly hope that with all the injuries that we've had across college basketball, that Caleb Foster is going to be okay.
Chris?
Caleb Foster, when he was sitting on the bench, the athletic trainers took off his right shoe and were looking at more of the foot ankle area. When I watched him walk back into the locker room, he was able to walk under his own power, but had any issues, did have a lot of issues putting any weight on the right foot.
Chris, thank you. So Caleb Wilson, who you saw moments ago, out for the season, a broken thumb. Patrick Gungba II, right foot, has not appeared in this game, and now Caleb Foster has gone to the locker room as Carolina gets it back within 8.
And you know, Dan, you have to give Carolina a lot of credit. I mean, they've only played 15 games this season with their top 3 scorers. Seth Trimble missed 9 games with a broken arm. And then you had Henry Vessar out for a couple games. Caleb Wilson out with that left hand fracture and now the right thumb. And yet, in the last 6 games, they're 5-1.
And in the 15 games where they weren't at full strength, 13-2, 11-4 when they were at full strength. And obviously, who you play is a part of this as well. But as Hubert Davis told us before the game tonight, it's part of his message to his team. You guys have won games without Caleb Wilson. You got to play well to do it, but he still believes that this team can play at a high level even without its best player.
Boy, Duke's passing has been on point. That was an excellent pass by first Cameron Boozer and then Malik Brown for the open 3.
Stevenson, no. Sarr will rip and go. And now back to Boozer. Sarr, a shot fake and a kick. Boozer for 3. And Stevenson, another rebound. He is having a big first half. He's got 8 points and 6 boards already in this game.
Cameron Boozer passes it off to Brown, and Brown draws some attention inside and then kicks it out to Sarr. Just an alert play by Malik Brown to find his open teammates spaced wide in the corner.
John Shire told us yesterday at practice some of the conversations he's been having with Dame Sarr. He says, you know, sometimes players get to college and they think they know who they are or what they should be. But sometimes what they think they want to be, they're not quite there yet. And he thinks, Jay, by Sarr focusing on just being as disruptive defensively as he can be, and he can be that has helped relax him a little bit on the offensive end.
Well, his superpower is his ability with his length and athleticism to put pressure on the ball at the point of attack. And that, in a lot of ways, has changed Duke's defense over the last month and a half. And I think he's right. When you throw yourself into your role, and your role can change in any given game or during the course of the season. North Carolina knows that better than anybody. But it can free you up when you just do your job.
Meanwhile, Malik Brown has gone to the bench with 2. Isaiah Evans is on the bench with 2. Patrick Gungba II isn't playing, and Caleb Foster's in the locker room. So Duke is thin right now as Henry Vessar knocks down a 3, and he can do that. He is 41% from beyond the arc on the season.
It's remarkable. Shoots over 60% from the field, over 40% from 3. That's his 34th 3 on the season, and he shoots close to 70% from 2.
The Arizona transfers had a great year. That one is knocked away by Dixon, and then a Duke foul, and Carolina trying to shift the momentum a little bit here in the latter stages of the first half.
Well, Duke with a smaller lineup, and North Carolina getting on the floor to get after that ball after Dixon knocked it away. Well, Hubert Davis has been talking to his team, not only lately, but all season long. In order for North Carolina to be the best team they can be, they have to focus first on defense and rebounding. If the Tar Heels rebound, they can get out and run. If they don't, Duke's going to get stickbacks.
1-1 for Dixon as he makes the front end. Coming up on the Jeep halftime report, some dramatic finishes in the ACC right now. A lot of bubble teams, a lot of bubble games right now in the ACC. And UConn is stunned today. Jay Will, Seth Greenberg, Reese Davis getting ready for the Jeep halftime report. Does the UConn loss today open things up even more for Florida to maybe grab a #1 seed?
Yes, I mean, I think Florida's the better team. You know, the top four is Duke, Michigan, Arizona, and Florida, and I don't think there's a question.
Darren Harris challenged by Vessar. Here come the heels again.
Good pass.
Dixon hits it, and all of a sudden it's a three-point game.
And that's the transition that North Carolina is looking for. Get a rebound and run.
9,314. Of course, Carlos Boozer is at all of his son's games. Michael Wilbon, PTI, is in the house. Corey Holt, 7-time Pro Bowler, is watching here, and Cameron as well. How about Chris Paul, the future Hall of Famer, just recently retired, played at Wake, of course. He knows about Cameron. Sean McVay, who's buddies with John Shire, is checking it out. Ken Jong was on a game day doing his thing today. Had you guys in stitches. This is always a game that brings out a lot of people who love their college basketball.
I went to law school as a classmate of Michael Wilbon's wife, Cheryl Watkins Wilbon. She used to cheat off me.
Have you said that publicly before?
I just did.
Boozer with a bucket, Duke by 5. Powell, step back. A little bit short. Caden Boozer the board.
Well, that is not the shot that North Carolina wants to take.
Boozer driving into the chest of Vessar and just knocked him out of the way.
He knocked him back into the first row. Boozer has so many ways to beat you.
And he's already got 12 points, 6 rebounds, and 3 assists. Trimble's open. Trimble the three. The follow by Vessar.
Boy, unusual. But that's 2 blockouts in this game that Cameron Boozer has missed that have led to easy stickbacks for North Carolina.
And Carolina's getting big minutes from their bigs. Vessar 9 and 6. Stevenson 8 and 6. And Duke can hold. The shot clock turned off.
And they want to go with 3-4 seconds to go on the clock, so it gives them an opportunity for an offensive rebound.
Boozer for 3. And over the backboard with 3.6 to go. And Carolina's got a decent amount of time to try to get a look.
One thing that Duke wants to do here is make North Carolina come back to the ball. Don't let Carolina catch it on the run with momentum going toward its basket. Make them come back to the ball.
Vessar to inbound. Hits Trimble, and they get a timeout called at midcourt with 2.5 seconds remaining in the half. Hubert Davis will draw something up in the huddle. We're back in 30. Success here at Cameron. They have won 3 of their last 5 in this building, but Duke right now is on a 31-game home court winning streak. But they are being pushed right now. They led by as many as 12, but Carolina's got it down to 5 with the ball in the closing seconds of the first half.
And right now for Duke defensively, the key is to play good defense on this without fouling. You don't want to foul and put North Carolina on the line here.
Trimble to inbound. Looking for Vessar. Got to get it in. The lob for Stevenson knocked away. Powell got it off but couldn't hit. And that is how the first half will come to a close. Duke, due to injury and fouls, Jay, really thinned out, and that helped allow Carolina to get back in the game.
Well, North Carolina did a better job in the latter half of the first half getting second shot opportunities. Blockouts were not on point for Duke. North Carolina took advantage of it.
Chris Budden is with John Shire.
Coach, you challenge your team defensively. What have you seen on that end of the floor?
Well, I thought overall it was decent. I mean, look, I thought they hit some tough shots, living in our pain a little bit too much. We got to clean that up.
With Gungba out and possibly Caleb Foster, the lack of depth, what does that do to you guys?
Well, we got to step up for them. Obviously, those are two key guys for us. Part of our strength is our depth, but we got to have their backs and get reorganized. Kind of a crazy last 6-7 minutes with Seafoss going down there.
Thank you.
Certainly a lot for both coaches to talk about with their teams at halftime, and certainly a lot to talk about on the Jeep Halftime Report. It is Duke 39, Carolina 34. 20 minutes in here at Cameron. Reese and the fellas with the Jeep Halftime Report. Coming up. A competitive game at halftime between Duke and Carolina. Cameron Boozer leading Duke in points and rebounds and assists in the first half, on his way to another very, very big night, helping his team in a number of different ways. On the other side, Henry Vessar with a big first half, 9.6 rebounds, 3 assists, helping Carolina get back into it. Duke has been thinned out by injuries. We will tell you more on that in a moment. Dan Schulman to Jay Billis. First now to see what each team needs to do for a better outcome. Brought to you, Jay, by T. Rowe Price.
Well, one thing that North Carolina needs to do better in this second half is take care of the ball. North Carolina had 7 turnovers in that first half. That led to 12 points off turnovers for Duke. But Cameron Boozer had a really good first half at 12 points, 6 rebounds, 2 of them on the offensive end, and 3 assists. Those are game highs for the Blue Devils. But he did miss a couple of blockouts. Gave up an offensive rebound to Jaron Stevenson and then to Henry Vessar, who was able to get around his blockout. That's 2 offensive rebound buckets for North Carolina later in that first half.
Duke led by as many as 12. It is 5 right now. Malik Brown starting in place of the injured Patrick Gungba II. A big half at both ends of the floor. Derek Dixon, really good. The freshman playing well for Carolina. Moments ago, Chris Budden was with Hubert Davis.
That last meeting at halftime, you were down 12, now only down 5 this time. What do you need in this final 20 to pull the comeback off?
Well, we did a better job rebounding the basketball. At the beginning of the game, they were getting second chance opportunities and points. We were turning the ball over, and that's just good news for them, bad news for us. We started to settle down, getting the shots that we wanted on the offensive end, and we started finishing possessions with the box-out rebound. We do that in the second half, we'll be fine.
Thank you, Coach.
All right, thank you.
As Coach Davis says, they were losing the possession game, giving up too many rebounds, turning the ball over too often. They cleaned that up, and Duke, both due to injuries and foul trouble in the first half, became a very thin group in the last 4 or 5 minutes of the half. Dixon gets a clean look, and it is a 2-point game.
A really good offense run by North Carolina to start this second half. And Derek Dixon, you leave him open. He is a good shooter and is playing with a ton of confidence.
Caden Boozer starts the second half for Duke. There is no sign of Caleb Foster. He did not come out of the locker room after halftime. Boozer, yes, up and in to make it a 4-point game. Back to Chris with more.
Duke will have to continue to play with this thin lineup as the school's confirmed that Caleb Foster is out the remainder of this game with a right foot injury.
Chris, thank you. So tough injury news for both teams. Caleb Wilson, the broken thumb, season-ending injury, surgery yesterday. Caleb Foster won't return, and Patrick Gungba II came out of the locker room after halftime, Jay, with a boot on his right foot. So he clearly is not going to play tonight.
Yeah, that makes Duke thin with their rotations, but what a great job by Seth Trimble to penetrate the lane and find an open shooter.
Evans open, the heels catch a break, and now they've got a chance to take the lead. Their only lead was just over a minute into the game as Stevenson is held.
Duke got cross-matched in transition. You had Isaiah Evans trying to guard Jaron Stevenson, who just moved him up the lane so that Dixon could try to throw over the top. But North Carolina penetrating the lane, getting a piece of the paint. That's what opens up really good three-point opportunities for the Heels.
The foul was on Evans, his third. So keep an eye on that. As thin as Duke is, only really 7 rotation players available right now for John Shire. He's got Harris and Hemenya on the bench. Bogavant's too strong. Rebound, Caden Boozer.
I'm not sure a step back 3 on Cameron Boozer is what Bogavant wants.
Cam Boozer looks off the defender and hits the 3.
Well, it just gave a little look away to the right. That got Stevenson to go back to his man. Cameron Boozer just plays with so much poise. Can't believe he's only 18.
15 on the night for Boozer. He's the high scorer in the game. Trimble's got to kick it back out. Bogavant sworn has to get rid of it. Shot clock at 5. Dixon. Bogavant short on the 3. And a nice outlet by Boozer to Sarr, who turns on the Jets and forces Dixon into a foul.
Now, Dan, watch when Boozer catches this ball. He gives a look to his right, and that froze Stevenson. And then Seth Trimble, a little bit slow, closing out to him. Another made 3, but that's a next level processing play by Cameron Boozer again.
Evans got it. And it's back to a 7-point lead for the Blue Devils.
Got the switch off the ball screen, the step back on Stevenson. If Evans can get involved, he can score some buckets in this game.
Averaging better than 16 a game in conference play. A nice turnaround by Jaren Stevenson, who's into double figures.
Well, he made a tough shot there, but I'm sure Hubert Davis likes to see him being aggressive. Remember, when he was at Alabama, he was basically a corner shooter. He's doing so much more now at North Carolina.
Boozer driving Vessar. And it's Carolina ball.
Well, Vessar does a good job of pressuring without fouling.
Trimble took a bump finish, no call. And a couple of quick buckets for the Heels to get back within 3. And now the whistle blows, and Trimble may have lost his contact on that drive.
He got hit, but still was able to complete the play. Turnover.
Oops. Unforced error.
He gets so low. This is a shoulders game. His shoulders are lower.
There's where he lost the contact. Right there.
I'm pretty sure that's a foul, but it was uncalled. But credit to Seth Trimble for going through that contact and getting it to go, especially with one contact out.
Again, guys don't stay at one school for 4 years very often. Seth Trimble has, and he means he has meant so much to the program. Hubert Davis reminiscing a little bit with us before the game, saying he was a part of my first recruiting class at Carolina. A senior night for Trimble week against Hudson. He has a wonderful career at Chapel Hill.
He's a respected player. Plays hard all the time and plays both ends of the floor.
And a good strong drive. Boy, when Caden Boozer puts his mind to it, he can get to the rim as well.
Well, especially when he gets a good screen from Malik Brown. And that's what it's going to take in this game. You've got to be physical on screens.
Dad Carlos looking on as Cam and Caden play here for Duke. Every Duke game we've done, Carlos has been there. Corner shot won't go.
I don't think Carlos Boozer has missed a game, home or away, all season long.
Stevenson trying to get physical with Boozer. Fades away, too strong. Boozer the rebound.
Cameron Boozer is an underrated defender.
Duke, the #1 defensive team per KenPom in the country. You think of guys like Sarr and Brown first, but to your point, John Shire went out of his way to mention Cam Boozer's defense yesterday at practice. Brown thought about it. Caden Boozer hits it.
No hesitation at all from Boozer on that reversal pass.
Remember, Caleb Foster has been ruled out. John Shire needs big minutes from Caden Boozer at the point here in the second half.
Duke trying to bring more pressure to push North Carolina further out on the court to run its offense.
Boy, Carolina could use a couple of threes from Bogavant. He's capable. He draws the foul on Caden Boozer with a timeout on the floor, and it's a Boozer family affair, Jay, here tonight.
Well, we talk a lot about Cameron Boozer, and rightfully so, but Caden Boozer coming into the game, he caught that to shoot it and drilled it.
Of 26 points per game. You know, it's not an automatic that you replace a legend and you keep the program at the same level. We have seen several examples that that is not the case, that it is hard to do. But Mike Krzyzewski stepping aside 4 years ago, and Jay, John Shire and this program have not skipped a beat.
Well, John Shire's done a remarkable job, and most importantly, he's done it his way.
SR's pass deflected. What do you mean by that?
Well, he's been himself. He's not trying to do it Coach K's way. He's made some changes. He's playing the way he wants to play, and it's been remarkably successful.
Evans ran into Bessar, no call. Now he resets for a three. Offensive rebound, Malik Brown.
And Malik Brown deflects a pass on the other end to get a steal, then an offensive rebound. He is everywhere in this game.
Dame Sarr, catch and shoot. When Sarr is making threes, you combine that with elite defense, and he becomes a real factor for this team.
Well, he's coming off a game in which he had 16 points and 9 rebounds against NC State.
Line drive three, short for Stevenson. Here comes Sarr.
Too quick of a shot for North Carolina. They didn't make Duke guard at all.
Carolina had it down to three. A quick 6-0 strike for the Blue Devils. The double on Boozer. Sarr from the other corner. Bessar got all tangled up with Brown, who wanted a foul call, didn't get it. Bogovac stripped by Sarr. What a sequence for Dame Sarr. Foul on Jaron Stevenson. And this place is the loudest it's been all night.
Malik Brown and Dame Sarr have taken over this last sequence to give Duke some breathing room. First, the deflection, and then offensive rebound by Malik Brown, and then a spectacular defensive play by Dame Sarr has given Duke an 11-point lead in the second half.
Boy, can Sarr be a game changer when he's playing like this. Evans keeps it in bounds. Brown will try a three. It's an 11-0 run for Duke. Timeout, Carolina. And Malik Brown spent the first 2 years with Syracuse, the last 2 here in Durham. Jay, as we were here, just an enormous ovation for a guy beloved by his teammates and the fans alike for how many different ways he can help you in a ball game.
Well, he gets about 5 deflections per game, and he's had at least 5 in this one. 4 steals for Malik Brown to go with 13 points. That's a career high in a Duke uniform. 4 rebounds and 2 assists. He has been everywhere. He's so disruptive as a defender, and you combine Malik Brown and his defensive play with the special defensive abilities of Dame Sarr, and you've got one excellent defensive duo.
Duke has allowed only 58 points per game in its last 14 games. The only loss in there was the loss to Carolina, where they gave up 71 at the Smith Center. And you can see Caleb Foster is back on the bench now, but he too has a boot on his foot. So he and Gungba each wearing a boot right now, and John Shire's down to 7 rotation players. Tipped away by Sarr. He has not used Harris or Jimenez yet here in the second half. And now, as I say that, Helmenia comes to the scorers table. This will be the first substitution of the second half for the Blue Devils.
That gives Malik Brown a little chance to rest before the next media timeout. Duke trying to keep their regulars fresh because they're going to have to play the biggest minutes down the stretch.
Jonathan Powell, Zayden High have returned for the Tar Heels. Duke on an 11-0 run. Trimble blocked by Evans.
Evans second on this team in blocks.
Amenya into the chest of High and draws a foul.
Because of the pressure that Duke has been putting on the ball in this second half, and they've gotten in passing lanes a little bit more aggressively in the second stanza, North Carolina is not able to run their half-court offense with the same pace that they ran it in the first half.
Amenya looking for his first points of the night. Tonight we've got the NBA on ABC. It'll be the Warriors and the Thunder at 8:30 Eastern. Chris Paul certainly knows a thing or two about the association. Ernie, Kenny, Charles, Shaq. They get it all started at 8 Eastern, and they'll be back after the game to break it all down for you. As Helmenia misses both, but guess who got an offensive rebound?
Well, you can't give up an offensive board off a free throw.
Helmenia misses the three. It's still loose, and Caden Boozer has it.
Well, Duke has just been quicker to the ball when it's loose. One-on-one in the post for Boozer.
With Vessar, the 7-footer. Getting as close as he can and finishing with the left.
Well, you talk about poise in the post. Vessar right on him, and there was no panic at all by Cameron Boozer.
17, 10, and 5 assists already for Cam Boozer.
Another night at the office for the National Player of the Year.
Look at the outlet to Sarr. Whoa, big collision with Evans, and a foul is called before the shot. Cam Boozer is doing it again. Night in and night out. Puts up the numbers and proving he has been the best player in college basketball this year. And just about everybody who comes to watch him feels that way, including a guy who knows a thing or two about hooping. A game one in Chapel Hill. The Heels on the Trimble 3 beating Duke in the last second of the game. The Blue Devils have led almost the entire night here tonight. Carolina's made a couple of runs at them on a couple of occasions. Got it down to 3, got it down to 1. But Dame Sarr has been one of the big reasons why Duke has extended the lead again. Chris has more.
Dan, he was a late out in his recruiting class and then struggled to find his identity when he got here. Over Christmas break, John Shire sat him down. He said, your superpower is defense. Don't worry about what the NBA scouts are looking for. This is how we can use you. And Dame Sarr told me, I was so thankful for that meeting because I just wanted to find a way to help my team. And with that, we've seen the offense really start to roll for him over the last couple of games.
Chris, thank you. John Shire uses the word disruptor a lot when he talks about Dame Sarr. And Chris asked Coach Shire yesterday, did you have a conversation with him about that? About being the defensive disruptor, that defensive demon, no pun intended. And John Shire said, oh, we've had lots of conversations, and obviously it has sunk in. And again, as Shire said, Jay, maybe that has relaxed him a little bit at the offensive end.
Well, it's not just Dame Sarr, but opposing teams have to plan for Sarr, how they're going to bring the ball up. Are they going to have another player other than the one that Sarr is guarding bring it up, or set screens in the backcourt to try to free him up? But Malik Brown has been that other disruptor in this game. He's got 4 steals, a ton of deflections. Duke is leading 20-2 in points off turnovers in this game.
And Carolina has not scored in over 5 minutes. Powell into the paint, floats it up, no good. Carolina ball. Dame Sarr wants them to go to the iPad and consider challenging this. John Shire's got about 15 seconds to make a decision. The pressure is on, and they will challenge. You get one. If you're successful, you keep it and get one more. And with 11:10 to go here in the second half, John Shire will use one. I think he's going to win it.
Yeah, it looked like
The out-of-bounds call is being challenged by Duke.
last touch, the left fingertips of Zayden High.
Clear and convincing evidence or definitive evidence, and it looks like there's enough there to show that it went off the fingertips of High.
Yeah, that first replay we showed, this one right here, that's about as clear and convincing as you can get. The other two, not so much.
Roger Ayers, Clarence Armstrong, and A.J. Desai. Hubert Davis told us before the game he's proud of his team. 24-6 despite Seth Trimble missing 9 games, Caleb Wilson 6, and now every game they play the rest of the way they're 5-1 against ranked teams. Joe Lunardi's got him as a 5 seed right now without Caleb Wilson. Everybody else has to pitch in to the best of their ability for them to have a nice deep run, but he likes the way his team has been playing over the last month and change.
Well, Caleb Wilson got hurt in that first game after the Duke win when Seth Trimble hit that huge 3 with .4, and he got injured against Miami. Now, North Carolina lost that game on the road, but since then they're 5-1 without Caleb Wilson in the lineup. In 2 of those games, Henry Vesar didn't play.
Right. You know, one of the special things about Wilson, and there are many, when he was injured.
After review, the challenge is successful. It'll be Duke ball on the baseline with 31
Successful
seconds.
challenge, Duke ball. Every time you watch a Carolina game while Wilson is out, his energy on the bench is special. The way he interacts with his teammates, with his coaches, you can see he loves playing college basketball. He loves being a North Carolina Tar Heel, and it's just such a shame that his season and likely his college career, assuming he goes pro, came to an end with another injury.
Well, Caleb Wilson had a spectacular season. I mean, he had 17 games of 20 points or more. He averaged right at 20, just under 10 rebounds per game. It was spectacular.
Isaiah Evans, deep range, and it's now a 16-0 run for Duke.
Evans freed himself up by setting a screen first. He set a back screen, and usually the screener is going to be open.
Hamenya knocks it away. Boozer has it taken away. High with a nice feed, and Trimble will get a bucket for the Heels for the first time in what feels like forever.
And got it off of a turnover. Duke gets a turnover they couldn't capitalize, and North Carolina winds up with an easy bucket. But that's how difficult it has been for North Carolina to score on Duke in the half court. Duke's defense, especially in the second half, has been excellent.
Boozer got high in the air, left it short, got it back. Missed again, got it back again, and finishes.
He's not going to miss 3 times. You give him 2 extra possessions and he's going to score.
How about 19 points and 13 rebounds now for Boozer?
What a remarkable season Cameron Boozer has had.
Evans. Nothing doing on the 3.
They just can't play hero ball right now. Didn't move the defense at all. And now Carolina, time of possession. They're spending way more time on defense than on offense with these quick shots.
Hayden Boozer playing all the minutes at the point with Foster ruled out with a foot injury. And now Boozer is fouled.
Well, Cameron Boozer got one-on-one in the post. Wound up missing that first one. Gets an offensive rebound. Couldn't get that to go. But still sticks with it. And that great footwork gets to that left shoulder right hand spinning around Zayden High. You know, giving him 1 opportunity is too many, but you give him 3, forget it.
Ken Jong was fired up on game day, and he's even livelier here tonight. One of the biggest Duke fans around.
Dr. Ken Jong. He got his medical degree from North Carolina.
Talked about being at games back in the mid-'80s, 86, 87, I think. The year after you graduated was his first time at a Duke game. Graduated in 1990 and has been to a lot of Duke basketball games since. Evans at the line for the Blue Devils. The ACC men's basketball tournament begins Tuesday in Charlotte at 2 Eastern with the first round on ACC Network and the ESPN app. The Nothing But Net crew tips off coverage at 1:30 Eastern, and we'll have post-game shows each night throughout the tournament. Duke is locked into the top seed, the outright ACC regular season champs. Carolina is locked in to the 4 seed, so each of these two programs has earned the coveted double bye. A block by Jimenez, getting in on the defensive front. Evans the step through. Brown the rebound. Harris the save. Look at the footwork by Evans. And Brown keeps it alive. Duke winning all the battles right now.
Duke's defense has just shut off the water for North Carolina on their offensive end. And in this second half, Duke is just dominating the glass. If it's long or it's loose, Duke is getting it.
Rebounds are 15-5 for the Blue Devils in the second half.
Malik Brown just keeping that ball alive, and Isaiah Evans the beneficiary. But even after Evans missed 2 free throws, which almost never happens, he's second in the conference in free throw percentage. Nick Jimenez winds up with the offensive rebound off the missed free throw.
Carolina had it down to 3. Since then, it is a 20-2 run for the Blue Devils. Evans sits, Sarr returns.
And that run, look, it was a team thing, but it was really started by Malik Brown and by Dame Sarr with their outstanding defense.
Bogovac to Vessar. 10 to shoot. The defensive Brown again, and a travel on Vessar.
Well, when you've got to back down Malik Brown, his hands are so good, but he's also strong. And that was not, it would have been better for Vessar to give the ball up and repost or move. But Carolina's turnovers have been game-changing in this second half.
12 turnovers on the game for the Tar Heels, 5 for the Blue Devils. Jimenez getting some good run here in the second half. Darren Harris is out there as well. Evans and Cam Boozer on the bench. Brown with an air ball. As we go under 8 here at Cameron, Duke has dominated in recent minutes. Duke running away from Carolina right now. It started with defense, but they have turned defense into offense. And Jay, it has been a joint venture between a number of different Blue Devils.
Well, the spacing has been great, and Cameron Boozer has drawn so much attention. When he gets a double team, he passes out of it. Isaiah Evans sets a screen and then winds up wide open, knocking down the 3 at the top. But really, the defense has been the difference, and the rebounding. Duke has dominated the glass in the second half, and they have totally shut down North Carolina running any coherent half-court offense, especially Dame Sarr and Malik Brown. They have been magnificent on the defensive end.
And look at those numbers. Plus 12 on the glass in the second half. As Jay mentioned right near the top of the show, Hubert Davis said for them to win tonight, it's about defense and rebounding. They held their own on the glass, especially late in the first half, but a much different story here in the second. And here is Malik Brown forcing another turnover.
And one of the reasons that Carolina's not been able to get out in transition is Duke has been crashing the offensive glass. They are forcing them to stay, so they can't get, first they can't get the rebound, but they can't get underrun.
What a pretty play as Sarr finds Brown.
Middle ball screen. Vessar stays with the ball a little bit too long, and Brown has an easy path to the basket.
And he's got 15 right now. Both he and Sarr are having tremendous games. Stevenson. Trimble with Cam Boozer on him.
Too much one-on-one for North Carolina.
Vessar cannot get a shot off over Boozer. Bogovac's a floater, and it's Duke ball.
They got Carolina all the way down to the end of that shot clock.
Darren Harris, no. Trimble is wide open from right around the spot at the Dean Dome that he hit the game winner, but he can't hit this one.
I think Seth Trimble, since he hit that shot against Duke, that three-pointer to win the game, is like 3 of 18 in the game since. But he has played really well.
Blue Devils not in a rush. Just over 6 to go, and a commanding lead.
Got the switch now. Bogavot's on Boozer. Now they switch back.
Boozer driving Stevenson. He got held, and will shoot a couple. He's just too strong for Stevenson.
Yeah, a bit of a frustration foul because Boozer got an angle on him. He didn't want to let him score. But just excellent defense and a great recovery by Malik Brown. Yet another deflection and steal. And that middle ball screen action with Sarr and Brown. Vessar just stays on the ball a little bit too long.
So, Jay, 13 turnovers for Carolina, 11 steals for Duke. So that means only 2 of the turnovers have been something like a travel or an offensive foul or out of bounds. 11 of the 13 have been live ball turnovers, and those are, in some ways, the easiest way to score because you can get out and maybe get numbers at the other end.
Oftentimes at runouts you get cross-matched. But in the win that North Carolina had in Chapel Hill, they turned the ball over only 7 times.
And Boozer continues to add to his totals. 21 and 13 tonight. He averages 22.6 and an even 10 rebounds per game.
And he's got to have 5 assists and a few hockey assists on top of that. Well, 1 and out every possession. Carolina, I'm not sure they've had an offensive rebound in the second half.
They've only scored 12 points in better than 14 minutes.
What a defensive effort that Duke has put on in this game, especially in the second half.
Showed it in that win over Michigan a couple of weeks ago and showing it again here tonight. Boozer to Hemenya. And the rebound to Trimble. Nice bounce pass, and Jaden Young will lay it in.
Well, one of the very few transition opportunities for North Carolina, but they were able to grab a clean defensive rebound and take it the other way. Well, Caden Boozer has done a nice job in this game with Caleb Foster out. And Foster's been outstanding, but with him out, Caden Boozer's come in and done a nice job. Everybody's stepped up in the absence of Foster to handle the ball, and they've handled it well. Good pass.
Brown, good patience. Caden Boozer. And high the rebound. And in the aftermath of what sure looks like it's going to be a resounding Duke victory here tonight, the next level of questions, the next topics will be, is Gungba okay? Is Foster okay? This game is big. Bigger games are coming for this team.
Yeah, it's certainly concerning, especially for Caleb Foster with the injury suffered in this game. We don't know exactly what it is, but we don't like to see any players sitting on the bench with a boot.
High banks it in, 71-50. Again, Duke goes into the ACC tournament as the top seed, Carolina the number 4 seed. So if they were to both advance, they would meet in the semifinals. They are on the same side of the bracket. Virginia and Miami are the 2 and 3 seeds in the ACC going into Charlotte. How about the jobs done in each of their first year by Ryan Odom in Charlottesville and Jay Lucas and Coral Gables?
Yeah, what do you do for ACC Coach of the Year? So many good candidates, depending on how you define it.
Through the fingertips of Stevenson and out of bounds. Look at the bracket right now. Everything has been set. Duke, Carolina, Miami, Virginia getting the double bye, and some bubble teams. Teams like Cal, Stanford down to the 10 seed right now. They've got to play Pitt 15. Not everybody goes. 3 teams don't go, but the action will be great in Charlotte, as it always is at the ACC tournament. 23 for Cam Boozer.
Cam Boozer is just so good at going into contact and then getting an angle from it. He's got great feel, magnificent footwork, and if he goes one-on-one in the post, there aren't many players that are going to stop him or bother him.
High will bank in a 3. Zayden High with Caleb Wilson out for the season with a broken thumb. He is squarely in the rotation right now for Hubert Davis.
The last 5 games, Zayden High scored more points than he did in the first 25. He's averaged 9 points, just about 8 rebounds a game, shooting over 50% from the field.
Boozer swings it to a wide open Jimenez. In and out.
He didn't make that, but that double team is too slow. I mean, Boozer's was able to pick that apart for an open 3.
Inside 3 minutes to go. Dixon will make a 3, and Hubert Davis will use a timeout with 2:55 to go. A little run here for Carolina, but they are still down by 17 to their arch rivals from Durham. Cam Boozer and company have been terrific here tonight and on their way to what looks like a big win over the Heels. Guys, thank you very much. Huge game for Auburn. Joe Lunardi right now has them as the last team in the field. A number of other bubble teams have lost today and tonight. A real opportunity for the Tigers, but as Kevin and Kevin said, it won't be easy against Phylon and the Tide. Tipped away by Dixon.
And you mentioned in Auburn, after a historic season last year for the SEC, they get 14 of their 16 teams in the tournament. They're still on pace to get at least 10 in this year. Auburn could make 11.
We might have the most teams of any conference in the dance, even if they don't have quite as many top tier or teams that look like Final Four contenders.
Isaiah Evans, when he sets that back screen for Boozer to get him down into the low post and pops to the 3-point line, that really puts the defense at a decision. You don't want to switch that thing and have a guard on Boozer. And you've seen Isaiah Evans use that in order to get an open 3 on the opposite side of the floor.
Sars swings it to Evans. Shot clock at 4. He'll drive it. He'll try to slam it. Boozer the rebound, and now they've got a fresh 20.
Boy, another offensive rebound for Duke.
It's 17-5 on the offensive glass.
It has just been dominance on the glass.
Boozer driving around Young. Draws a foul.
Young got him from behind, but Boozer, as soon as he got the switch and got Jaden Young, who transferred from Virginia Tech, where he knocked in a whole bunch of threes. His last 6 games at Virginia Tech, he averaged about 16, but that's just a mismatch size-wise when he switches off onto Boozer.
And Boozer back to the line. Time now for the player of the game, brought to you by Voya, and it has been another big productive night for Cam Boozer.
Well, Cam Boozer was one of the stars and certainly the most productive. At least it was a decision, because Malik Brown was excellent in this game.
Brown with a deep high 15 points as Carlos Boozer looks on, and Brown is 1 rebound away from a double-double tonight. Having to play big minutes with Patrick Gungma out. Trimble to Vessar, and a whistle away from the play.
They got Brown on the reach. One of the few times he grabs arm instead of ball. I mean, he's had his hands on the ball defensively. It's got to be double-digit times with deflections and steals.
Inside 2 minutes to go. And a 3 for Dixon. He has been really impressive tonight and has had some really good moments for the Tar Heels after moving into the starting lineup mid-season. They got a player.
Well, he is a good player. He's changed a lot of things by stepping into the starting lineup at the point. Got a screen away from the ball that brought him back to the ball. Boozer again. They can't guard him. They just cannot guard him.
Vessar from Dixon.
Looked like it was going to be a handoff to Trimble. Instead, Dixon kept it and was able to lob it up to Henry Vessar. Carolina coming with full court pressure.
Duke, the top team in the nation, obviously looking like a lock for a 1 seed, maybe the #1 overall seed, which could put them in Greenville, South Carolina, close to here. And then if they were to make it to the regionals in Washington, D.C., where they've already played, beat Michigan there. Boozer drives again, and this is over the side of the backboard. He wanted a foul call, but it'll be Carolina ball. Or will it? Is it Duke ball? Yeah, it is Duke ball, with the shot clock at just 1.3. The next game for each of these teams will be Thursday in Charlotte. A block by Trimble, and a shot clock violation will give it to the Heels. And now the Crazies will give their Blue Devils one last loud ovation. John Shire now emptying the bench a little bit, and 2 players who were a part of the senior night festivities, Jack Scott and Cameron Sheffield, into the game. Big ovations for Evans and Brown on the way out. Another rebound for Boozer, give him 15 on the night. And Duke can basically dribble off just about all of the remaining seconds. Every time you watch them, Jay, the defense is more and more impressive.
Duke has 2 what I would consider special defenders in Dame Sarr and Malik Brown. And it's really an excellent defensive team. #1 in the country in the defensive metrics, but Duke is top 5 in both offensive and defensive efficiency.
And Duke does get that measure of revenge for the loss in Chapel Hill in impressive fashion. Their 32nd consecutive victory here at Cameron Indoor Stadium. Cameron Boozer leading the way with 26 points, 15 rebounds, and 5 assists. The big question again for after the game, maybe tomorrow, will be the health of Patrick Gungba II and Caleb Foster, each with a foot in a boot. And we don't know the severity of either one of those injuries, but 2 very important players if this team is going to cut the nets down at the end of it all.
Well, that's going to be important. You expect Gungba to be back. Certainly hope the best for Caleb Foster. But in absence of those 2 players, other players in this game stepped forward, most notably Dame Sarr and Malik Brown. They were magnificent, especially on the defensive end.
And Malik Brown is courtside with John Shire and Chris Budden.
Malik, on senior day, a career night for you, and on a night where your team needed you with Patrick Gungba out, what did you feel like you had to provide tonight?
Yeah, just trying to step up as much as we could. Obviously, we had Pat beginning of the game, and then C-Foss went down. So the energy in the locker room just stepped up, and we just all try to step up for our brothers.
What has it meant to finish your career wearing this uniform, playing in this building?
It means a lot. It's always been my dream to play here, and I'm just glad I got to finish it off here.
Thank you, Billy. Congratulations. Coach, for you, in this rivalry, with how thin your roster was today, what are you most proud of?
I couldn't hear one word. I couldn't hear one thing. What did you say?
What are you most proud of with just the way the guys stepped up with such a thin lineup today?
What I was most proud of, Pat did everything he could to play this game. He wanted to be in there. Caleb goes down, and guys, man, have a special connection. They got a special will, and I thought at halftime it was great for us to be in that kind of game. And I'm just really grateful to be coaching this group, man. They're big time.
What did the guy sitting next to you give you tonight?
He's a warrior. He's a warrior. He hasn't lost a game in this building in 2 years. Well, he did when he came here in different jersey. You don't even know what I said.
I can't hear you.
He can't even hear me. But he's look, he impacts the game in so many different ways. That's why he's going to be playing in the NBA when he leaves here. That's why he's just the ultimate winner, warrior. I can't say enough about him.
None of us can hear. Congratulations, Malik Brown, John Shire. Thanks, guys. Dan.
A winning player in Malik Brown, a winning program of the Duke Blue Devils, #1 in the nation, a 76-61 win over the North Carolina Tar Heels tonight here in Durham. For Jay Billis, Chris Budden, and our crew, I'm Dan Schulman. Thank you so much for watching. Let's send you to Tuscaloosa with Dane Bradshaw.